sewn with bad quality fabrics before? Then you understand the stress and frustration that comes with it. Fabrics play an important role in how our finished garments look. For every garment we make, our fabric choice can either make or mar that garment. When we use good quality fabrics, even very simple garments will look stunning and elegant. So good quality fabrics will make our garments last for years and years, even after several washes. But then, how do we know good quality fabrics? Now, join me, let me show you how you can quickly tell if a fabric is good quality or not. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time of seeing me, my name is Egon of Threads Fashion. Here I share a lot of tutorials on how to make different styles of garments. I also share tips and tricks on how to achieve a professionally sewn garment. So if you have been struggling to know how to tell a good quality fabric, then this tutorial is for you. Whether you sew or you just buy fabrics from the market and give to your tailors, you will need to watch this tutorial, so stay tuned. Now, here are 5 quick ways you can tell if a fabric is good quality when you go fabric shopping. The first tip is to check the density of the fabric. That simply means how tight the weave or the yarn of the fabric is. The tighter the weaves are, the more dense the fabric is, then the better the quality. Now, to test for the density of the fabric, to check how dense the fabric really is, you're going to hold your fabric against the light, and then you're going to check if you can see through the fabric. Now, if you can see through it very well, then, or if you can see little gaps in between, then that's a clear sign that that fabric is a poor quality fabric. Now, let me give you an example of what I really mean. So we're going to use this fabric as an example. So this is a cotton fabric, and you're going to take any fabric. You can use any fabric for this. Just place it against the light like this, anywhere there's light, and then try to see, look through the fabric and try to see if you can see through it. Now, if you can see through it and there are gaps in between the threads, then you know that that is a poor quality fabric. Now, I know that for this fabric, this fabric has a lot of print. You may not be really able to see through, and that's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not even talking about fabrics that you can see through, that are clear, that are transparent, that you can see through, like mesh or lace or sheer fabrics. That's not really what I mean. I mean seeing through the threads. You see all the threads inside. If you can see through them and you see that there are gaps in between those threads, that's exactly what I mean. If there are gaps in between those threads, there are little spaces in between, know that that is a poor quality fabric, and that the weaves or the threads are really loosely woven. So the fabric is very poor quality. If you cannot see through and there are no gaps, there are no spaces in between, then that is a good quality fabric. Okay, now another thing you also want to take note of is I want to use another example. Let's assume you're using this fabric. This is an organza fabric. Now, this is a see-through fabric. You see, you can actually look through and see the other side, but that's not what we are talking about when we say if you can see through it. I'm saying if in between the threads inside there are gaps in between. I hope you understand. If there are gaps in between and there are spaces in between, then be sure that that is not a quality fabric. Like this one, though you can actually look through it, but you see that there are no gaps in between at all. Now, another thing you want to check for is you want to check if the fabric frays a lot. So you see, this is a fabric that naturally frays. Organza fabrics, they fray. So you can see, I hope you can see this very well. So you can see it frays. But if it frays very, very well, if it frays a lot, it's also a sign that the threads or the weaves are not tightly woven, and so it is a poor quality fabric. I hope you get that. Okay. The next quick way to tell if a fabric is good quality is to check if the fabric can hold or retain its shape. This is especially for knit or stretchy fabrics. Now, to test this, before buying a knit fabric, you're going to take one corner of this fabric and then try to stretch it out. Now, when you stretch it out, if it bounces back to its original shape, without it losing the shape, without it stretching out, then that is a good quality fabric. Now let me show you with this knit fabric. So this is a knit fabric. Now you're going to just take one corner of it like this, and then you're going to stretch it out. You stretch it out, you see? You stretch it out very well, then leave it. If it bounces back to its original shape like this, then is a good fabric. If it does not return to its original shape like this, if maybe it's slightly deformed or it has stretched out, then run from that fabric. You don't want to make any project with that fabric because it's going to be a disaster. So always test your knit fabrics first in the market or in the fabric shop before you buy it. It will save you a lot of stress and frustration. And then if you're buying a non-stretchy fabric, you can also still use this method. You can also pull it apart and then listen to the sound. Now again, let's use this as an example. If you take this fabric, for example, and you pull it like this, you see that sound you hear, you see that snap you hear, it tells you that that is a very good fabric. So always try out your fabric before you buy them. Okay, you see it went to its original shape. There's no deformity. It's holding the shape very well. All right. So my third tip will be to check the texture of the fabric. Now this means that you will need to touch and feel the fabric with your hands. Now this only applies to when you go for fabric shopping, physical fabric shopping. You can't do this online. And I always advise that if you're a newbie, practice buying fabric from the fabric shop first and get used to it before you start buying online. Otherwise, you're going to buy lots of fabrics that are not really what you want. Okay? So now when you test, when you look at or when you feel the texture of your fabric, if the fabric is rough or it is uneven and it scratches when you place it against your skin, then that fabric is definitely a poor quality fabric. A good fabric should feel very smooth and it should not irritate your skin. Now when I'm talking, what I'm talking about now is not, I'm not talking about lace, because I know that lace generally, they are really not, the surface is not smooth, even the texture is not smooth. But then again, you can still use lace you can still use this method to try out laces. If your lace, if the part of the lace that is going to be against your skin, if it irritates the skin, it scratches, then it's not a good quality lace fabric. You also don't want to purchase that. Okay? Now my fourth tip will be to check the luster of the fabric. I mean how the fabric looks generally. Check to see if the colors are bright, they are not looking faded, like something that have been exposed to a lot of sunlight. And then by bright colors, I also mean if the colors they appeal to the eyes. Even if the fabrics are calm colors like beige or light pink, they shouldn't look dull. They should look really beautiful to the eyes. Okay? And then lastly, my fifth tip will be the price. Now the price can actually help you know if it's good quality fabric or not. If it is just too cheap, I know cheap is relative though, but if it is really cheap, that may be a sign that that's not a good quality fabric. Because good quality fabrics, to say the truth, they are not really cheap. Oh, they are not cheap. They are only cheap if they are on sale or if they are on discount. Good quality fabrics are not cheap. Okay. So these are my few tips that have really helped me over the years to know quickly if a fabric is good quality or not. I hope these tips will also help you too. But of course, you may still make mistakes sometimes and buy poor quality fabrics. But no worries, you will get better as you sew with different fabrics. Alright? So the next time when you're going for fabric shopping, remember to check the fabric density, the texture, and check if the fabric can hold or retain its shape when it's stretched, the fabric luster, and then the price. And now I hope you got value from these few tips that I shared. Please, if you did, kindly give me a big thumbs up. Share this video with your sewing buddies and your friends, and let me know in the comment section if you have ever tried these tips, or share with us the tips you have tried to do good quality fabrics. If you are a beginner and you want to know where to start from in learning how to sew, please watch this next video. Thank you all for being here. I will see you again in my next class. Bye bye.